everyone, today we are looking at this starter base game cottage that I built the other day. I really was in the mood to build a cottage, but also challenge myself to build it in base game. Honestly, kind of inspired myself with the random number generator build that I did the other day. It was supposed to look like a cottage, and if you haven't watched that video, highly recommend it. I'll make sure it's linked down below, because you'll see kind of what I built that looked like a cottage, kind of. It was just a crazy build overall, so it really wasn't truly a cottage. So I wanted to build a truer cottage that looked more like it belonged in Hinford-on-Bagley. And I think I was able to do that, especially with the budget I had and the limitations of base game. My strategy for it was really picking out some of the pastel colors and just some of the things that I thought fit the country type living vibe. So at this point, I was shaping the roofs to look more like they blended in with the Hinford-on-Bagley. I like the fish scale roofing because I thought that also fit pretty well. In my random number generator build, where I did the cottage in base game, I chose the straw roofing. Instead, I thought I would try the fish scale because I thought it would look good, and I liked the way the orange contrasted the blue that I chose. And to break up the space of the blues, I actually did the blue siding that you see on the bottom plus a blue vertical wood on the top parts of the builds. I've mentioned in previous videos that I just like the way it looks because I think it breaks it up, makes it look less repetitive, gives it some visual interest. Highly inspired by some HGTV stuff that I've seen. Highly recommend it. I don't know what it does. It just makes it look better. And especially with adding the little bit of, is that like a wall trim? I don't really know what that's technically called in game. So that little strip of that wood underneath the vertical wood, if that makes sense. You see what I'm talking about, that piece of brown that separates the two different wallpapers. I think that also helps break up the look and make it more visually interesting. At this point, I'm still trying to decide some of the windows that I want, and some of those might end up disappearing for budget purposes. I cannot remember. I was really trying to stick with more of curved windows, something that just made it look more dainty, and I don't know. I really like the way it turned out. Those windows, okay, how new are these windows in base game? I don't know. I don't remember them being there before. Maybe they've been there the entire time and I just haven't noticed them. But I love that window there in the front. I thought it was so cute, and that's going to be the kitchen at some point. These walls were being really weird, so I couldn't break them. Wouldn't let me break them down for some reason, so I was just kind of working with it without having to redo the entire floor plan. So I don't know what was wrong with it. It was being weird. My goal for this house was to fit, I think, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Yeah, that's what I got in here, was 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. And I think it worked out pretty well with the floor plan. It's kind of cramped, I will admit, and I didn't get to put the living room where I wanted it. You'll see what happens. But the living room ends up tucked away on a corner instead, so you walk into the dining room, which I think it looks okay. I think it fits the space. If you notice in the top part of the house, the side walls of the attic area, they're stuck as the blue trim color, or not trim, nope. If you notice in the attic area of the house, you'll see the walls are the same blue siding as outside. Because those are technically roof pieces, I could have just built a wall there. Why didn't I build a wall? I might have done that because to save on money. It was probably to save on money. So there's not technically walls there, it's roofing. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. That was like 3 days ago, so I can't not remember it all. So at this point, I'm putting these stairs right there. They don't stay there. I had to experiment a lot with where the stairs were because they were being weird. Don't worry, I eventually put lights in here so you guys can see. I completely forget to do that at the beginning of my builds. I've been trying to get used to it, but so for some reason it's hard for me to remember because I don't really care if I can see or not. I just build some walls and I go for it. And then once the floor plan's done, I typically do lights. So that's kind of what you're seeing here. The floor plan's like almost done. And I was like, oh, I probably should get some lights in here. Whoops. So they're there now. At least you can see. For some reason, this floor plan was kind of tricky at first. I don't know why I was struggling with it. Maybe it was because the kitchen wall that's just stuck there, it wouldn't let me break it down. I think I mentioned it a second ago too. But anyways, that wall, I won't let me break it down. So it was being annoying, so I just had to work with it. So at this point in the build, I was wanting the dining room to be tucked away on that corner, around that corner in front of the kitchen archway, except for the living room, as you can see, it just didn't really fit the space. It didn't make sense. It was too narrow, and I really wanted that fireplace in there. I don't think it's... Oh, wait, maybe it does stay in that corner. No. I don't remember if that fireplace stays. If so, that's kind of a waste of money for a starter home because they're so expensive. We'll see what happens. So this is basically the final layout in terms of where the couch is versus the dining table. Unfortunately, that's just the way it had to go. I personally don't like to build my houses where you walk straight into a dining room, but for this, it just had to work. It's a starter home. I feel like you can kind of get away with that in these types of homes, so it is what it is. I feel like quite a few of the pieces of furniture that I chose fit the cottage vibe pretty well, so I was pretty happy about that. I think the more antique TV stand and the coffee table really tie into that cottage vibe, so that was pretty nice. The kitchen counters, I feel like it's a place where I struggle the most because I didn't think that any of them quite fit the cottage vibe as well as like the country kitchen, is that what it's called? I don't know why I cannot remember the name of that one. That one kit with the country kitchen things, I feel like that would have been perfect, or the cottage living. Those two kitchens are made for a cottage. But obviously this is base game only, so that wasn't an option. I thought that the tiled top counters looked the best in this space, so that's why I chose those. I went with the blue stove and the blue fridge because I thought it was really fun. In the cottage living and the country kitchen kit, once again, still, I don't know if that's right. Anyways, in those two kits, you can have these really pretty colored cabinets, and there's also pretty colored stoves and fridges. So I thought to kind of nod to that, I'll do a brightly colored stove and fridge. Obviously, it's not the best with those countertops, but I was trying to make it work. And if you don't like it and you download this house, you can easily change it to something else. But I just wanted it to be a little bit fun. For some reason, I feel like the wallpaper was a little bit tricky to choose. There's quite a few to choose from that feel like they're a little bit more antique, which kind of nods to the cottage type vibe, but it still didn't feel the same as some of the cottage living stuff. Even the paranormal stuff pack, those, oh my god, those walls, oh, I love them. I feel like they're perfect for a cottage. So I kind of struggled with these wallpapers. I decided on this flowery one because I thought it looked the most like something from cottage living, so that's why I chose that. I tried brick on the outside because in the cottage living expansion pack, they include different bricks. So I thought, oh, maybe a painted brick would look good on this house. You know, maybe that'll kind of make it look more like it belongs in Hinford on Bagley. But I actually didn't like the way it looked. I preferred the really pretty blue siding with the blue wood vertical slats at the top, whatever, I don't know what to call those. But I thought that looked better in this house versus the brick. So I feel like you could probably rearrange some stuff and make it look better with brick. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it on this one. So I think that turned out okay the way I chose, though. I think that the rugs that are included with base game work pretty well in the space. They're not as great as some of the other options from some of the expansion packs and game packs and all that good stuff. But working with what I had, I think it worked out pretty well with the light pink pastel rugs, with the flowers. I think it tied itself nicely together. That is one good thing about base game. I feel like it's kind of easy. I feel like it's pretty easy to make the vibes match for the most part. I feel like you're kind of stuck with like one type of style though, maybe two or three, because it gives you some Mediterranean revival architecture to go with the Oasis Springs, and then some more of like the antique stuff to go with Willow Creek. Yeah, for some reason I forgot the name of that place. So it gives you some more of that. So I feel like you have either Mediterranean style architecture. What's that technically called? I think in the game it says mission style. I don't know anything about architecture or interior design, whatever. Anyways, I feel like those are the styles it leans mostly toward. So getting it to work in a cottage was kind of hard, but also not impossible. So building a cottage at base game, it's doable, totally doable. And I really think that the outdoor little potted plants under the windows, I think that helps make it in some of the debug items. The indoor potted plants, that's really where base game is lacking. I feel like there's one, maybe two good trees to choose from base game, like potted trees. So that part was a struggle. I'm gonna be honest. It was annoying. That fence that you see me painting underneath is actually a debug item from base game, and oh my gosh, I love that fence. It's so cute. I think it fits the cottage vibe really perfectly with the wood and the vines crawling along it. And that's another thing. I don't think there's any vines in base game that go for going up the wall. I don't know, because I realized the other day that those are categorized differently, and I didn't know that until after I built this. So there might be some in base game, and I'm just dumb. I don't know. At this point, I was finding stuff in debug to go outside because I think I was out of money in terms of the budget. Obviously, I have infinity money right now because I was just building from the World Manager? Yeah, I was just building from World Manager. So I had infinite money, but I still made sure it was like a starter cottage price. But I've managed to find a vine that looks like it belongs going up the wall. You'll see what I'm talking about here eventually in a minute. So at this point, I'm just trying to fill in the space as much as possible to make it feel like more like a cottage, because I feel like part of the stuff in cottage living, the goal with those builds is to just plants all over the house. So that's what I was really trying to do here, make it look as much like a Hinford on Bagley house as I could. So here's the vines that I was talking about that goes up the wall. I think that those worked out perfectly. It was a little tricky because there was zero variation with them. So I was playing around with different wall heights and just slightly scooting them over so it looks more like it's curving up the wall instead of just the repeated plant going just up a wall. So I did my best with those. I think it turned out pretty good for what I had. It was tricky. I will admit it was kind of tricky. I think another thing that helped make this build what it is like the curved door in the front and the curved windows. I talked about the windows a little bit, but I think that curved door and that wood tone just really helps solidify its cottagey nature. Why can't I say that? I think it helped it make it look like a cottage. And then I found these rocks in debug and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw these rocks in here for some filler items. I don't know if this really makes sense, but they're just going to go here. And oh, I really like the part with the terrain paint, the path going to the back of the house. It fills up that empty space, but I really like how it fades into the backyard. So it almost looks like it's been overgrown or covered with grass and dirt. So I thought that was really nice. And once you have a family, move in here and you make some money, you could easily put some sort of table in the backyard or like a little living area in the backyard. There's a lot you could do with this place. And you could even, renovate it yourself with non-base game items if you do have more than just base game. I like that is an option for some people, who might have not all the packs, but they have, one or two things. Okay, at this point, we are looking at the finished build. I did move it to Hinford on Bagley because it's just that one lot at the top right corner is beautiful. I love putting my builds there and taking pictures of them because I just think it looks so pretty there. So that's where this is if you're wondering where the heck is that. It's not in Willow Creek or anywhere base game. I did put it there just for the sake of pictures. It's actually also a bigger lot than what I was building on. I uploaded it to the gallery in the smaller lot. Anyways, if you do want to download this though, my gallery ID is Ashley Cherie, YT. So it's the same as my YouTube username plus YT at the end. I hope you guys really like this build. I think it turned out pretty great. And honestly, I think it looks like it belongs here in Hinford on Bagley, considering that there's 0 CC in this. There's no DLCs, there's nothing in. Oh, that's what I did with this corner. I put the computer nook over there and got rid of the fireplace. Anyways, sorry, tangent. I noticed the computer there and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I really hope you guys enjoyed this build, and like I said, please let me know if you enjoy seeing base game things, and if you want more base game things, let me know. I would love to build more for you guys. If you want to see some pack specific builds, let me know as well. I'm open to anything. Give me some suggestions, please. I would love to build for you guys. I'll see you next time.